me repair my gate? Will you help me repair my door? Did you find what you was looking for? Will you help me repair my gate and door? Would you like a slice of lemon pound cake? You can take as much as you wanna take. There must be a big mistake. Would you like to have a slice of my lemon pound cake? The warrant said narcotics and kidnapping. The warrant said narcotics and kidnapping. Are you kidding? I make my money rapping. Why does the warrant say narcotics? Well, I know narcotics, but why kidnapping? Let me ask you something, officer. Any kidnapping victims inside my seat pockets? Are there any kidnapping victims inside my suit pockets? You crooked cops need to stop it. There are no kidnapping victims in my suit pockets. Let me ask you another question. Is there 1,000 pounds of weed in my suit pockets? Is there 1,000 pounds of weed in my suit pockets? You crooked cops need to stop it. There's not 1,000,000 pounds of weed in my suit pockets. Let me ask you something else. Any kidnapping victims inside my CDs? Any kidnapping victims inside my CDs? The Adams County Sheriff Department, you can get these. There are no kidnapping victims in my CDs. How many pounds of weed are inside my CDs? How many pounds of weed are inside my CDs? Adams County Sheriff, you can get these. How many pounds of weed did you find in my CDs? Why are you stealing my money? Why are you stealing my money? You represent the law and it's funny. You're stealing my legal work hard every day. Pay taxes, money. The sheriff disconnected my cameras. The sheriff disconnected my cameras. The sheriff should be locked up in slammers. The Adams County Sheriff Department disconnected my cameras. Did you have to traumatize my kids? 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 Will you pay me for doing me wrong? Will you pay me for doing me wrong? Will you pay me for doing me wrong? Or will I have to get paid from this song? Hey, you think they gonna somebody's man.
Welcome to the Friday Nights. I'm Jason Sandberg. Fellas, I had a fantastic week. I finally got my hands on this beauty. This is Snowman Cold Day in Hell.
Ooh.
This is a amazingly beautifully illustrated book. I cannot highly recommend it enough. Every single page, you can just sit there and stare at it. Intriguing story. There you go. Nice. You've got good taste, John. Good taste. Good taste. I highly recommend this. If you haven't picked this up, I highly recommend it. Cannot wait for issue 2. This is just a beautiful book. Fantastic job. And then, as usual, I'm working on Jupiter issue 2, inking and coloring. Jupiter issue 1 is still in demand on Find My Comics and Indiegogo. Go check it out. I crossed the $9,100 mark, so theoretically, I could maybe kind of almost hit 5 figures before Jupiter issue 2 goes full campaign mode. We'll see what happens. I've got high hopes. And tonight, we are to some extent honoring the passing of our friend Clavi. Mike Alonso passed away this week. Nick Weiser is having a vigil on his channel. His friends and family of Clavi have been running kind of vigils on his channel this week. But if you're a fan of him and his channel, Mike Alonso, he did pass away this week. So in honor of him, we're gonna kind of salute him on his voyage to the stars and wish him fond farewell. But we're gonna keep him in our memories. Craig, how was your week?
Well, for starters, although I'm not going to take the patch off, I got a shot of cortisone today in my eyelid. So yeah, it's blown up like a balloon right now, but fingers crossed that does the trick. For new books, I got Dojo Kun's book there, Project.
Nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful too. It's a really nice book. Nice and big, 48 pages. I wish I could read it. I got reading glasses, but like just on all the drugs and stuff like that. I did want to take this opportunity just to show our books. I wanted to say something that I always fail to do. So anyone who's watching, we got 29 people watching. You know, there's my 2 Soltac books there, my issue 4, and then the graphic novel. Here's Chris's book here, Nano 13, and there's Jason's book, Jupiter. I just want to thank everyone out there that has taken a chance on us and backed us for making these books possible. Like, these would not exist. These would not be with us today without your help and without you backing and supporting indie creators. And I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So yeah, that's my piece. That's my piece for the show.
Craig,
so I am on a lot of drugs. Yeah.
Craig, I still would have done Jupiter, but no one would have read it. Just to let you know, just putting that line in the sand.
Right.
Chris, how was your week?
Well, I'm only on one drug, so Craig's got me beat. But as most everybody in the chat knows, I was at Dallas Fan Expo over the weekend with my daughter.
Yeah.
I picked up a stack of comics, and I'm super excited. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I have picked out 3 that I haven't read any of them either, but I've picked out 3 that I'm like super interested in. So Gator Man Kills. This looks really cool. It's like a kind of a slasher type thing. It's all in black and white, and it's like this crazy guy in a gator costume. And I have no idea what this one's about, but it's called The Apostasy, and it's got this cool guy in a gas mask. Also, black and white. It's like you can't really tell with the ring light on, but the pages are kind of yellowed. And so it's a really cool look. And then this one I'm really excited about because you guys know me. I love my mythology, and I found a really cool book that is based on an East African folklore story. And so I'm really super excited about that. And other than that, working on Nano 13 issue 2, and we had a good time at Fan Expo. I know we're going to get into it later. So how about you, John? What are you reading this week?
I'm buying way too many comic books. Like I said, I just showed the Snowman. I just got those. Didn't read them yet. I mean, they literally got here a couple hours ago.
That means mine will be here in 3 weeks.
This I'm super excited about. I got Creepy 63.
Oh wow!
It's got a story called Jennifer that is like a legendary horror story by Bruce Jones and Bernie Wrightson.
Okay.
My nephew's into horror, so he was like, "Have you ever read the story Jennifer?" I'm like, I collect comics. I collect old comics, but I buy them in order. I'm only up to issue 12 of Creepy, but I jumped ahead to 63, so I'll be reading that this weekend. I like I said, I buy comics in order. I'm up to Justice League 11. I have from 50 on, so I decided to close the gap. So I bought from 1 to 11 so far, and I'm slowly catching up.
John, real quick question for you: who's better, Snapper Carr or Rick Jones?
Rick Jones. Rick Jones.
Rick Jones for sure.
100 times better.
All right, you can stay on the show.
Okay. I got this comic called Rise. It was on Kickstarter. I don't know anything about the creative people. I just like the design of the superhero costume. I'm a sucker. Sure. I have rules of superheroes and costumes and code names. And just looking at this cover, I said, this guy's following the rules. So I wanted to check it out. The premise is his powers only work while he's happy. So it's kind of weird. So
I would be screwed.
Yeah. And then last but not least, I read Wolf and Batsy last night by Brian Bao. Oh my God, do I love this comic. Brian Bao is a great guy. He's, on Alterna. This is his first comic on his own, Bloody Weirdo Comics. And it's just so good. Do you like sexy girls? Do you like monsters? Do you like gore? Then this is for you. So good. So good. And I could go on for another 20 minutes of what I read this week. Do you want me to keep going?
if there's something out there if there's something within reach that you're like, man, people do not know about this, I'm going to shout this one out. Go ahead and grab 1 or 2 more. I love your spinner rack. I'm quite jealous. At some point I got to get a spinner rack.
Yeah. I got it from Diamond Comics, but they won't just sell it to regular guys. So I went to a store and paid for it flat out. And then, they I read this. This was awesome. Brooklyn Dreams by J.M. DeMatteis.
Oh yeah.
He was on my channel and he brought this up, and I got all embarrassed because I never heard of it. And I'm a big J.M. DeMatteis fan.
Yeah,
For those of you who don't know, he was one of the writers with Keith Giffen, the Bwahaha Justice League, One Punch, all of that Justice League stuff from the 80s and 90s. And so I got this. It's basically autobiographical about him growing up in Brooklyn. It's just so much fun, so good. I'm trying to look at it.
I love his work, Moonshadow, and of course awesome. His run on Captain America with Mike Zeck, his Defenders run. I'm a big fan. In fact, he is the only creator that I actually went to the comic book shop to meet back in the 80s when I was a youngster.
Oh, wow.
He was the only one. and he was a fantastic, great guy. And then I sometimes interact with him on Twitter. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he does a crowdfunding on Kickstarter. He does the Demetrius verse, and it's like it's 5 comics, and they're all great. They're all really great. He's about to launch number 2, and I would like for him to come back on my channel. And for those of you who don't know, we did mention his most famous. He did Craven's Last Run, which is I think one of the best superhero comic book stories of all time. And they should have left Craven dead.
Yeah, they should have.
Agreed.
Should have left Craven dead.
Most of the time, that's how it is.
Yeah. I was just talking with Yang about that's one of the problems with comics is there's no finality. When you read manga and a character dies, you know that guy's gone, and it ups the stakes, you know. So, in my comic book sales, if anybody dies, that you're never seeing them again. They're dead.
Same.
Yeah. You don't have any life model decoys in your universe.
Yeah, you may catch them in a flashback or something, but yeah, they're not coming back.
I hate it when they bring people back on a TV show. That's even worse. Like The Walking Dead, when they did that. When they killed people and like a season later they have someone hallucinating and they show up. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
they killed the girlfriend on Sopranos, and then the wife who never even met her is talking to her as a ghost. I was just like, this show stinks.
Craig, speaking of people who just kind of show up, who's in the chat tonight?
Yeah, for sure. So again, we're up to 33 viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in on Friday nights. Vulcan is first one in the chat. He says, happy Friday, dudes. Hail to you, Vulcan. And again, thank you for joining us every Friday. Jackknife says he likes riding his bicycle. Yeah, you're gonna like seeing this guy on this bicycle. It's something else. It's part of the outro. I do got the stories.
Nice.
Just have some patience with me and my one eye. Mostly it's just us bantering back and forth. Oh, here we go. Belmont says, yo.
Hey, Justin. I still got Find My Comic 420 and you didn't.
And I got to say, you look like a supervillain with that eye patch over there. I say the wrong thing, my chair's going to flip back and I'm going to go into a pool of alligators.
You're probably wondering why I brought you here, Bond.
Yeah.
So there's 35 watching.
That's right.
There's 35 watching, but feel free to
36.
jump into our chat. Yeah, 36. Feel free to see.
Yeah, guys, say what's up.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, everybody. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, kudos to our friend Craig. He's doing this as an old man with one eye, and he's trying to work multiple computers, the keyboard, running the chat. He's probably on Twitter as well. So let's hear it for Craig White. He's just fantastic guy. Fantastic guy.
I do my best. I've been learning a lot from doing all this. Like my learning curve has just been like a rocket ship, including how to create comics. Right. Like I just wanted to.
Old man, you're not going to have to do crosswords or Sudoku. Keep yourself sharp. You're just gonna keep doing YouTube, and you'll stay sharp.
So before we jump into any topics, I just first want to pull up John's campaign here, just quickly talk about. So it's got 157 backers on it. I know that because it's Fund My Comic, which is in US dollars. Another thing I love about Fund My Comic. So it's 4,500 raised. So nice. You're off to a beautiful start to this campaign. So that's where we're at the start of the show, and then and when we jump into your campaign. We'll see.
We'll check back.
Yeah.
We'll check.
Okay, Jackknife. Did you screen cap that Jackknife? Was it 157 baggers?
Yeah. Yep.
Jackknife is our record keeper and keeps us on track. Okay. So usually we have 3 topics, but because Chris Faction took a little road trip, we've got 4 topics tonight. Craig, what order are you going to do the topics?
I don't fully remember, but I'll pull it up right now and I'll let you know which one is number 1.
All right.
So first one comes from ABC News, I believe, if I can read. Airbnb renters refuse to leave. They put up a no trespassing sign on a Durham woman's property. She's a single mother who's got a kid in college too, by the way. So a lesson learned here when it comes to running Airbnbs and stuff, the longer you rent your property out, the more rights those people have. So she rented her Airbnb out to people for 4 months, and they paid 4 months in advance, but that gave them that 90 days. And then they just decided they didn't want to leave. So.
John, do you think Lenin had it all wrong? Should he, instead of trying to violently expropriate all the private property in Russia, should they have just rented everything out and like not given it back?
I don't know. This topic just drives me nuts because I had a foreman who took in his son and his son-in-law. He took in his son and his daughter-in-law, and this guy was like 3-4 weeks or 4 months away from retirement. He just wanted to have his granddaughter living in the house, and then when they moved in, they didn't pay. His own son didn't pay any bills. Ate up all the food. Started wrecking stuff. Took the car, and then he yelled at her one day. Like he just came home mad from work or whatever. Maybe he shouldn't have yelled at her, whatever. She called the cops and had him evicted from his own house, and they took his house. So every time I see stuff like this, I get livid. And I have another partner at work. This guy's kind of annoying, but he bought like a 3-family house, and one of the guys, he just moved in, paid first to last month rent, and has been there 18 months. Now this guy's paying mortgage. Everybody hates the landlords, but 90% of the landlords are just blue collar guys trying to make a, and my buddy was going to buy a house next door to me, and he was just like, I don't know if I want to be a landlord in New York. It's just insanity, so whatever so this is just I didn't even want, when you said you were going to talk about this, and I'm like, I'm going to get mad. I'm known as kind of a happy-go-lucky guys, but you're going to hear me curse. You're going to hear me get mad.
It is perfectly human.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's just a lesson to people. Like I was the same way. I've got a granny suite in my current house, but I'll be honest, I'm not going to rent that to anybody. And I've learned even too. Sometimes your best friends and some people, they're the ones that let you down the most. So
I had a friend growing up, and he was this like handsome, talented, artistic guy. All the girls, when I hung out with him, I might as well have been invisible, And then I saw him in Penn Station in Manhattan, and he's just addicted to drugs. He's tall, 6 foot, blonde, blue-eyed guy. He had the world by the short hairs, and now what he does is he cleans up. He looks handsome and respectable. He gets into somebody's house and then never leaves. He'll stay like 2 years, and he just does drugs. So he just never leaves. He'll get like Grubhub or whatever, and so he's telling me the story, and if it was like The Simpsons where you could just disappear into the bushes, I mean, that's what I wanted to do. I'm like in Penn Station, like I can't hide. By train, I would have gotten on any train to get away from this guy, and he's like, where do you live? I was just like, nowhere. I didn't want him to know where I live, and this is the guy I went to high school with. So yeah, I hate this topic. I hate this topic so much.
So I live in Texas. This is alien to me.
Right. I live in New York.
Like, I'm like, there would be an aggressive eviction here. And,
you know what they do to combat this in New York is they hire construction companies to just come and start working on the house.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They'll put a porta potty on the lawn.
They'll start banging on the walls and knocking holes and disconnecting pipes.
Go in the house and start working on the house.
Yeah.
But that makes me laugh that you could do that. But I was about to say something that would probably incriminate me. Let's just say that my brother is in a group of very persuasive people who ride motorcycles. And let's just say that these people very persuasively got people to leave when other people leave.
Fair enough.
Well, has anyone ever tried the tactic?
And I was across town when it happened, so I had nothing to do with it. But
I wonder if anybody's tried the tactic of a similar tactic, but basically to say, okay, I'm going to invite 20 other families to live in the same house and just like literally crowd the squatters out.
Yeah,
you
know what? Oh,
bring in criminal aliens.
I'll go in. Give me the keys. I'll go in, and and I'm a nudist, and I live here now. That'll get him out of the house.
You're gonna get me in trouble. But the secret to any crime is do it so you have no accomplices and you have no witnesses. That way, no one's gonna tell anyone anything. That's
in Texas, I couldn't imagine this is a problem in Texas.
No, like private property rights. It's so crazy because there are places in Texas. As a matter of fact, I think for the longest time, Houston wouldn't even have zoning laws because private property rights in Texas are like people get pissed. And there was like, I remember seeing this report about this house that was like next door to a roller coaster, and there ended up being something went wrong, and like a piece of the roller coaster like flew off and hit their house, and you know, this big insurance nightmare or whatever. But yeah, man, here in Texas, private property rights are I mean, I'm not gonna say they're absolute because we have ridiculous property taxes, but yeah, it's you're pretty safe here.
I will also say property taxes are the most evil of all taxes.
Yes,
because you have to live someplace.
Yeah,
you have to live someplace. There should be no property tax. Like, I just bought my house 3 years ago during the middle of COVID. I lucked out. I got the lowest interest rate possible. My mortgage is cheaper than my rent for an apartment in a 1-bedroom apartment. So I'm happy but my taxes keep fluctuating.
Yeah.
My taxes changed from, they'll change from $300 to $800 a month. Every 6 months it'll change. How do I? And if I don't pay the taxes, they take away my house. So do I own this house?
No,
I don't have.
And plus you were taxed.
And most of the taxes go to the schools, and none of these kids in my neighborhood could make change when they graduate high school.
I know. And plus, you're taxing the income that you earned to buy the house in the first place. So it's a racket. So Chris Faction, before we move on to the next topic, I've got to pose.
Oh, you get me all hot and bothered, and we're leaving. All right.
Chris Faction, I want to pose a question to you, since this is so foreign to you as a Texan. Is the way to look at the story, the fable of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, is the way to look at it is that she's just a misunderstood squatter?
Misunderstood? Okay, yeah, we'll go with that. Misunderstood squatter. Yeah.
All right, Craig, what is the next topic?
Sure. So topic number 2 comes from UPI. It's the world's tallest rideable bicycle, measured 25 feet 9 inches, and then I can't see here, but I believe he traveled 7.7 meters or something to that effect to break the record. Incredibly tall bike to be basically trying to maneuver from all the way up there. So yeah, this is in Paris that this record was broken.
So John, I am not a fan of drinking while driving. I am totally against that. But I do have to say, if you are inebriated or high and you can keep your balance on a bike like that, you ought to be able to bike wherever you want to. Am I right or wrong?
I agree with you. I bravo on taking such a controversial stance. So I applaud your courage. I read further on in this article. This guy was riding through Paris, and 127 people surrendered to him.
Chris, is this man just sublimating the Eiffel Tower as a bike? Is that what's happening behind the scenes here?
I actually thought that he was going to dress in white to be the surrender.
To be the flag.
Yeah.
Craig, I've got a question for you. Craig, is this actually given how crime-ridden Paris is, and we know it's because they've imported the third world, but is this actually a very brilliant strategy to deter bike theft? Like, literally nobody can steal this bike. Am I right or wrong?
Well, I mean, they could steal the parts off of it, but I've actually been in Paris, and I was at a bar in one of the train stations, Gare du Nord or something like that, and I was having a drink, and I leaned forward, and I felt the tug on my backpack, and I turned around, and Buddy was in there. He kind of did that, right? But I think this would at least help with the pickpockets and the people stealing your going into your pockets. I think you're pretty good up there, but no doubt they'd be stripping the parts off it, and you'd be screaming and throwing things down.
It'd be funny because you would park and then come back, and you'd have no wheels.
All right. So Chris Faction, I need to draw upon your military experience, your military background.
Oh,
go back in time. It's Normandy, 1944. The Allies drop down in Normandy, and they make their way through the hedgerows. And as they're trying to advance as quickly as they can, would this bicycle not have been fantastic for when they encounter rivers, where literally you could be biking along, tip the bike over, use it as a bridge, get to the other side? Is this brilliant or not?
I think absolutely, and I'm pretty sure that actually happened. Like, I'm just going to say that it happened. I also wanted to note, to all my homies out there, 249 years, the United States Army has been stacking bodies. And shout out to all my homies that I served with, all the ones that didn't come home. Man, I graduated basic training, or OSIT, on the Army's birthday. So I have like pretty fond memories of the Army's birthday. And yeah, man, it's dope.
John, I think this story is being suppressed by the media. And here's why. This bike is so fantastic that they are scared that the general populace is going to become aware of this bike, because widespread adoption of this bike is going to necessitate the raising of street signs and street post lamps. Do you agree that there's a conspiracy to hide this from the public?
Sure. Yeah. It's French, and we don't need any more French stuff over here. So I'm happy with it. Just the prize. Everything else can stay there.
All right. All right, Craig, what is topic number 3?
Yes. So our third topic for this evening. Again, I can't tell who it comes from. I really need to be.
It's KWTX Channel 10. It's a local. So this story comes from my hometown.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a local news outlet.
Okay, so this is a Central Texas Batman who hands out care packages to homeless people in Waco, Texas. He gets a new set of wheels. So I love these kinds of stories. I wish the world had more people like this in it. Yeah, so he was homeless himself. Obviously, he picked himself up. I'm not sure what business. I don't know if you can fill in the blanks for me for what he does or how he came across his money, but he's just decided to reach out and help all the homeless people in Waco.
That's nice. That's a nice story.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody around town, knows of the charity Batman, and it pretty much he's always delivering supplies and stuff to the homeless. He's real tight with Mission Waco around here, which is probably the only decent homeless program, and there's a local business that decided to put some money together and do some cool labor for the guy and get a sidecar for his motorcycle. But it's not like a sidecar for a person to ride in. It's a sidecar for him to put groceries and supplies and stuff so he can go around and deliver his stuff. Because before he was having to put like a big bag on the back and everything. And yeah, this is like just a cool story. Dude dresses up as Batman. He's the nicest guy in the world. I actually know who he is under the mask, but I'm not gonna, reveal that. Yeah, man, it's cool, like living here and knowing that Batman is feeding the homeless.
That's cool. That's a good story.
Yeah.
I like it.
So
Bruce Grom. So I guess that's a made up name.
Yeah.
Oh, it says it right there. Not his real name. Duh. Yeah, I can read it.
Craig, if Texas allowed squatting, would this mean there would be no homeless people for Batman to feed?
That's a good question. If you would
yes, there would be no homeless. They'd be dead.
Yeah. I don't think Texas needs a Batman. I'm pretty sure Texans can take care of themselves.
Yeah, we don't have that no-kill rule around here. That's terrible.
So Joe Chill tried it in Texas. He tried.
Yeah, it was actually another billionaire, and it didn't go well.
Nice. All right, what is topic number 4, sir? Speaking of Texas, give us topic number 4.
So this is for the 3 stories. Those are out, but
where does everybody else live then? I'm in New York. You're in Texas. Where are you?
I'm in Minnesota.
Okay.
I'm a Canadian. Hopefully, don't hold that against me. I'm in east of Maine.
Yeah, he's in occupied territory.
Yes.
My wife is from Winnipeg.
Yeah, I'm where after the Revolutionary War, after all the loyalists lost, and they said get the heck out of the 13 colonies, and they all made their way up to the north. Yeah, I'm where all those people live.
And they're still loyalists today.
Yeah. So the next one I have, I'll pull this up.
Okay. As always, they never show me the slides. Now, I know there's pictures of me and my daughter in here, but I don't know, man.
So, John, we usually pick one topic and we do a deep dive. We're a small show. We're a new show, but we have a great investigative team. We've done weather reports. We've done stock reports, bond reports, investigative reports. This is our first pull-up report. And this was Chris Faction on assignment in Texas. Craig, next slide.
Yep.
All right, so this is you two getting ready to go. How early did you pack? How long of a drive was it? How'd it go?
It's almost a 2-hour drive to Dallas from where I'm at. And it was, my daughter had a bag with her cosplay in it, and she was very adamant that she didn't put it on until we got into the con because it was in the 90s.
Oh, I bet. All right, next slide. All right. Tell us about this one, Chris.
So as soon as you walk in, there's this cosplay is not consent sign. And
they're at every convention. Yeah.
It's so
I want to get my hands all over that guy dressed up as the Death Star in that
right. Like, okay, and then we rounded the corner and we saw this.
Oh, you're nowhere near that exhaust port.
When I told my daughter, I was like, you have to go take a picture. He's not a TIE pilot. He's a TIE fighter. And I wanted to Photoshop TIE wings on him, but
a TIE eater.
That was too much. This guy couldn't fit in a tie. Like, I feel bad, but I don't, like, come on, guy. Like, come on. Star Wars TIE pilots are in shape. They got to survive those G's and those tight turns. Come on.
Dude, because of the slander against the Empire, recruitment is down. They've lowered their
well, it's diversity hires over in the Empire now, because we all know who's in charge.
All right, next slide, please. All right, I remember who that character was. Did your daughter remember that character?
She had no idea who it was, and I was like, yo, you got to go take a picture with the tuna. And she was like, what tuna?
John, where have they gone? Where have they gone? The corporate mascots of our youth, Captain Crunch, and so on.
Tony the Tiger.
I know Charlie Tuna got caught in a dolphin net, and he's and he was eaten by the human Death Star.
Greenpeace was too late.
I got to ask, because I'm an old timer. Who's your daughter dressed up as?
It's an anime character. I thought she told me she was going to watch tonight, but there she is. Mm-hmm. There she is. Right. See, we've been talking about her. Ears were buzzing. JC Bell, Van Bonvin. No, JC Bell. Put in the name of the character that you.
Does anybody remember the voice of Charlie Tuna?
Oh yeah, yeah. Right. Well, I mean, I remember what it sounded like. I don't remember.
Phil Silvers, right? The same guy who was the Great Kazoo. And
oh yeah. Yeah, so to me, this was the most famous person fish that we met at the con, actually. and I walked by Jeff Loeb, and I was like, yeah, but you're not Charlie the Tuna.
Yeah, well, I'm sure even Jeff Loeb would admit he's not Charlie the Tuna.
All right, Craig, what's next? All right, who is this?
That is my daughter with Melanie Mack, Planet Mel Mack, apparently.
I just wanted to point that out. There's a guy in the Legion of Memers. He's a buddy of mine, Horny Elf. He takes great pains. He goes to great pains to remind everybody that Mel Mack is synonymous with Mel Mack.
Yes,
he thinks it's his in. I don't believe it.
So anybody that knows Horny Elf knows that he doesn't show his face. I hung out with Horny Elf at this event, and so I know what his face looks like. But he wears a Horny Elf T-shirt, so everybody will know.
You got the goods on everybody.
I do. And I just want to say that this picture, when I put it on Twitter, 25,000 impressions.
Nice. Good job. How long did you get to chat with Melanie?
Just a few minutes. It was actually mostly JC Bell and her chatting. They were chatting about words you can't say on YouTube. Anybody that follows Melanie Mack knows what I'm talking about.
And that was the night that Chris nuked Craig's channel. Very good.
Does she have a comic or anything, or is this a comic convention, or like what was her?
Yeah, so
walking around.
Yeah, so I went to Dallas Fan Expo, and then afterwards, Eric July had a meetup.
Oh, okay.
And you had to like RSVP to the event and everything. But Melanie Mack and Gary from Nerdrotic and some of
Don't
the
get
guys.
ahead. You guys say,
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just telling John what happened. All right, keep going.
what's the ending of Nano 13?
Oh well.
Okay, so I want to take this moment and thank everybody who's watching. We're now, the metrics tell us we're at 51 live viewers. That is actually, I think, a record from us since our first episode. So thank you to everybody who's spending a little bit of time on their Friday evening hanging out with us, sharing some laughs, and looking at some great comic book content and comic book creators. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thanks, guys.
All right, what's next, Craig? Okay, this guy is trouble, isn't he? I heard he's trouble.
So I thought that it was Tucker Carlson, and
he likes big juicy booties. I know that
he does. Yeah. So like seriously, I walked up to him.
Discount Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, I walked up to him. I was like, "Dude, is that Tucker Carlson?" And he turned around and made that face at me.
Oh my god!
And we took the picture, and then
Carlson at home.
Dude, this guy is wild. I mean, everybody knows Alex Stein on the internet. He's wild and crazy in person, just like, he is in his videos. And then he followed me on Twitter, and that's,
nice.
Today I tagged him in my poop post.
Nice.
I didn't know you got a follow from me. I got a follow from Afro Man. I was all proud.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. Yeah. Alex followed me, and yeah, cool. Man, we had a good time, and he wasn't even on the guest list or what. He just showed up to hang out. Yeah, it was great.
John, as a New Yorker, have you seen the video clips of from both perspectives of Alex Stein hailing AOC on the steps of the Capitol? Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
All right. The thing I love about that is that you can watch both perspectives. I just think it's wonderful. It's something you couldn't do that 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. All right, Craig, what is next?
Quarter Black Garrett. He's a cool guy. I gave him a copy of Nano 13 because I know he's like into sci-fi stuff and everything. Yeah. Dude, it was so funny because like he was on the guest list, to appear or whatever, but you really wouldn't even notice that he was there because he was just like hanging out. Like he would just go randomly, like sit down with people and just start talking and and stuff like that. And he was like chill. I think I went through the line with him when we got nachos. Speaking of which, my daughter, she's 18 now. Mm-hmm. So she partook a little bit while we were at the thing. And then she lived at the buffet table.
It'll happen.
Hey, Cap, good to see you tonight. So one of the things I love about quarterback Garrett, sorry. What I love is that he's like in his like 30s or 40s. He has so many decades to go, and at the end, when he's an old man, when you look at his resume eventually, and he's going to have such a not a tell-all book, but he's going to have such an autobiography of the people that he's worked with and worked for, and it's just one of those things where the story's not over yet, but he's a great guy and hangs out. Jesse the Common Nerd knows him. Just a great guy, and I am curious to see just what else this young guy does in the years to come. Great that he was there.
Remember when he went to Chaz Chop? That was so hilarious.
I didn't. Was that during the Crowder era or what?
Yes. It was so funny. It was hilarious.
Oh man. All right, Craig, what's next?
Hey, the Saska sisters. I was actually very excited to meet the Saska sisters because we have mutual friends. Previously was a tour manager for horror punk bands, and you always end up running into celebrities and horror movie people. And I'm friends with Ari Lehman, who played Jason Voorhees in the very first Friday the 13th, the little kid Voorhees.
Nice.
And so we're mutual friends with them, with him. And so, yeah, we got to kind of chat a little bit about horror movies, and they also got a copy of Nano 13. They were super excited because Yaira is colored by Jay Brown, Nano 13 colored by Jay Brown. And so, yeah, like we're all big fans of
They were
Jay.
also very excited because it was drawn by Ron Mosicki, who also draws Unheroic Tales, my comic Heroic Tales. And they were like, oh, this guy's John Longbox. So there you go.
Exactly. You know, and I'm trying to get Ron's art out there, you know, because
Ron's not only is he a good artist, he's a great guy.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I got to get
John,
more work on.
John, Chris brought up Friday the 13th, the original, the first Friday the 13th. And have you seen that movie, sir?
The way I'm into comic books, my older brother with the biker gang, he's into horror, and it was just a thing. We went to every Friday the 13th movie every year for our 11 years. It was just like we went to every single one. Every time a horror movie came out, my brother and I. So yes, I've seen every Friday the 13th. And while I was out of work a couple of weeks ago, I had a hernia surgery. I sat in this chair and watched every Friday 13th movie again, laughing hysterically that I thought these things were scary as a kid.
Okay. Yeah. I'm great that it's fresh in your mind. I need to ask you a question. Looking at Friday the 13th, the first movie, am I correct that Jason Voorhees' mom is the ultimate cinema Karen?
Oh, yes. Yeah. They were in the park screwing and making love, instead of watching my special little boy. Yeah, absolutely.
John, you can come back on the show anytime. Thank you. Fantastic. All right, for those out there keeping score, John's on my side that Mrs. Voorhees is a Karen. Nice.
She was the monster. If you remember, Jason was the victim in the first movie.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. But I tell you, when he popped out of the water, I think I took
a
crap in that bucket of popcorn.
Yeah,
right.
Me and my buddies, we watched that in slow motion. Yeah, we had our jump scare, but then we watched it in slow motion. On the
I saw it in the movie theaters, and oh my god, that's when I was a 12-year-old kid, and I grew a long gray beard at that scene. I don't think I've ever been as scared.
For real, like that is in my top 5 favorite jump scares in any movie. And I would say it's right next to the alien jump scare in the tunnel or whatever that, I
think it was the first time I ever said the F word, and nobody cared.
Nice.
I was traumatized by Cocoon. I was a messed up kid. No, everyone seen Cocoon, the movie?
Yeah, that movie was cursed. Did you know that most of the actors died within like 5 years of that movie?
Except for Wilford Brimley.
But the scene where she's getting undressed and Steve Guttenberg is being a peeping Tom. See, both Porky's and Cocoon Tommy never be a peeping Tom. Whatever you do, don't ever stare into women's showers. But and then she peels her skin off. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was freaked out from that scene.
Getting undressed, I'm drilling the hole.
John, it took me a minute to register, but that was very funny. I'm gonna have to use that joke.
Which joke?
He's gonna laugh for 10 minutes.
That movie was cursed. So many of the actors died.
I'm glad somebody got it. I got no reaction for it.
I was listening to you, and I was biding my time to come in with my riff, and then I threw in my riff, and then I processed your riff.
I'm glad somebody got it. I thought it went over everybody's head.
Okay, all right. Craigers, what's next?
Sure.
Craigers.
Lost my cursor. There we go.
Who's that guy? Did you pull up on this guy?
I did. I pulled up on Eric July. We had a good conversation about comics.
Oh, that's Eric. I thought this was twins over here.
We have the same barber.
Yeah, that's right. Chris has the red beard.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah, no, we had a good conversation. This is actually the first time I've gotten to talk to Eric July outside of a Libertarian Party event. And so it was cool. We were actually talking about how nice it was getting to hang out outside of the the politics type stuff or whatever. And yeah, he was having a great time. He stood there shaking hands, taking pictures, doing signings for 4 hours. The dude did not move. Like he had a long line. Even like we left about 15 minutes before the event ended, and he still had about 60 people in line to get to.
So you're saying he's got a Todd McFarlane bladder?
Yeah, right. No, for real. Like he did not even take a bathroom break. Like dead serious. He was right there. And you're right. He maybe so. I cannot
confirm or deny he was wearing Depends.
Did you know him from the music scene? Like going back, like.
No, I never, because he was like in the metalcore scene and up in Dallas and San Antonio areas, both. And I was mostly in the punk rock scene and a little bit of
different genres
crossover. But yeah.
Do you know the band Deadbolt?
Deadbolt.
Because they were like the first horror punk band besides the Misfits.
I want to say that like the name sounds familiar.
They're from San Diego. When they would go to Texas, they would stop when I was living in Albuquerque all the time. They were great. They were a lot of fun.
I'm gonna have to look it up and see if Deadbolt.
Cool.
Sounds like my kind of stuff.
All right, Craig, what's next?
Gary.
All right. How long did you get to talk to Gary?
Actually, probably longer than I should. It was great. The guy that was talking to him before me had this crazy COVID era story. He was a United States Marine during COVID, and he was in Minneapolis when everything was going crazy. And so we just started talking about the crazy stuff we saw in 2020. And then Gary and I talked a little bit about Star Wars and like old school Star Wars. We weren't talking like bashing Disney Star Wars because
back when it was good.
Dude, for real, that's for the videos. Like in person, like we're talking what we loved about it. And then he gave my daughter some really, really good advice. He asked her how old she was, and he was like, "Hey, it's your job to save the world." And she was like, "Oh, thanks." Yeah. But yeah, he was super cool. Like I said, we talked a little bit about 2020. We did talk about the infestation of certain types of people in Disney and Hollywood, but it was great.
Activists. You can just say activists.
Yeah.
They don't care about it.
I thought you meant Lithuanians.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And apparently my beard was growing sideways by then. I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, it was cool.
Did you have to have a beard to attend this thing?
Do what?
Did you have to have a beard to attend this thing?
You didn't. I can tell you, Horny Alf does not have a beard.
It looks like you had a fantastic time. You can tell just the expression on your face and everybody in the photos. It looks like y'all had a great time. So very happy for you. Glad you got to network. Glad you had a great time. So thank you, Chris Faction, for bringing back this report.
Go out to places to have a good time, not to cause a disturbance.
Exactly. Hey guys, I think it's in August. I'm going to try and go to the Bell County Comic Con because Kevin Eastman's going to be there. And I would, what's funny is I don't own a single Ninja Turtles anything.
Do you got like Miami Mice #4, maybe?
No, like I literally only have indies anymore, and I
bought my first Ninja Turtles comics maybe 2 months ago because a tonic bowl was busting my chops. I was like, I have an irrational hatred of the Ninja Turtles because I was I was working in a comic store when they came out, and I had it in my hand, #1, and I was like, they're making fun of Frank Miller. They're making fun of and I never touched them. I never read it. Then Tonic Bowl's like, you got to read. So I tried to get, because I like to get first printings, but it's $180,000. So I bought 5th printing was the best I could afford. It was actually pretty good. So I just ordered number 2, you know, so I'll slowly work my way up to Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
But I never watched the movie, you know. I was like,
Well,
you know,
most people know Ninja Turtles after it became a toy, like the Playmates toys. They don't realize the original comics were violent, you know.
Oh yeah. Super dark, super violent. You know, Shredder like dies right there at the
first
beginning.
issue, Shredder is dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my brother and I was reading Cerebus, and so there was the crossover issue. So he picked it up. He picked up. I forget which issue they were. No, so I take that back. I was reading Cerebus consistently every month. And he jumped onto the Ninja Turtles. It was maybe issue 2 or 3 or something like that. I don't know if he ever had issue 1 and then like later sold it. But so I read a few of them. It didn't really grab me. There was a couple issues that Rick Veitch did that I did pick up. But then a funny story, flash forward like 15 years into the future, in the late 90s, I got a Xeric grant from Peter Laird. So that the biggest impact that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had on me was just that Xeric grant when I was doing the first iteration of Jupiter. So that's my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. So every time, what's that?
So I'm a big fan of Rick Veitch. So if he's gonna be, so I got something to look forward to. Not that they're bad now. The teenage, issue 1 was good. I'm looking forward to number 2. I love Rick Veitch.
Sidebar on the topic of Rick Veitch, are you getting his stuff that this print on demand off of Amazon?
No, I didn't know that he was doing anything.
So he's continuing with Max Immortal. He's continuing with Rare Beat Fiends, and he's also doing these little standalone OGNs. So it's kind of low key, and he puts them on Amazon print on demand. I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
I've been messaging him to try to get him on my channel. And
cool.
You know,
that would be awesome.
I love the one. Rare Beat is one of those comics that actually kind of scares me. I don't know what it is. The art is terrifying. It's a drug-fueled, nightmare-inducing comic strip. You know,
wonderful.
Yeah, I see the chat talking about the 1990 movie. Also at the Bell County Comic Con will be the original cast. The Turtles and April are going to be at that con.
Will Vanilla Ice be there?
Well, I mean, he lives just up the road, so
go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
He still comes here and does performances and stuff. He's got a metal band now or whatever, but I egged his house one time, like 15 years ago.
Statute of limitations is still alive there.
Oh,
so John, it is obvious to all of us, based upon your background, based upon some of the names you've mentioned in the comics and so forth, that you love comic books, and I assume that's what drew you into wanting to make your own. So why don't you quickly tell us your origin story and tell us about your book? Okay.
My origin story is I was a kid who couldn't read. It was 3rd grade, and I was in the I don't remember the names, but I always joke that I was in the Cuckoo Birds because I remember we were named after birds, and I couldn't read. And my partner, we shared a textbook. His name was Jordan, and Jordan would go to the bathroom in the classroom and come out with his pants down, his little noodle dangling, and yell to the teacher, "Wipe my hiney." So I knew that I wasn't smart. I knew, that nobody had to tell me. I had Jordan.
It sounds like my kid.
Yeah. So I made friends with a couple of kids, and they were into comics. Now, I didn't read, just like I didn't do math at home. I didn't read at home. Reading was something you did at school. Math was something you did. You don't hang out with your friends and do math problems. So, but my friends were all reading comics. I got into the comics. It was specifically like Marvel team up with Chris Claremont with Spider-Man and Captain Britain and Arcade. So I wanted to read. By the end of that year, 3rd grade, I was in the top reading group, and I sat next to Marianne, and Marianne was the teacher's pet. She was the one that wrote whenever the teacher had to go to the bathroom, she wrote your name on the board. John was talking, Chris Faction was talking. So I knew that I was in a good group. That's how kids aren't dumb, but it's all because of the comics. So that was 1974. I've always loved comics. I never stopped reading comics. My whole house is comics. Every if I reach in any direction, I got a comic book. And I was addicted to Marvel. I didn't really catch on to DC until the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And then 2015, I said I'm stopping with Marvel and DC. I just didn't like him anymore. And this was before they went political. I just didn't like it because of the disrespect to continuity, the disrespect to the characters. You know, they like the example I always give is Ta-Nehisi Coates was writing Black Panther, totally changing the content. Like, who are you to contradict Jack Kirby?
Yeah,
you know, I was just getting madder and madder. And I was spending $400 a month on comic books. And a big box would come because I was ordering them online. My wife is trying to carry this box up the stairs. She's crying. She throws this box at me. And I'm like, I made my wife cry. She's carrying just because I lived in a 3-story walk up. And then I opened the box and I'm like, I don't even like these. You know, so cold turkey. I was done. And then I discovered your boy Zach, and he's making comics. And then the final straw was RJ from the Fourth Age. He made a comic. And I'm like, you know what? I've been playing role-playing games. I've been making stories with my friends. I actually started writing scripts because I had a dream of writing Fantastic Four for Marvel. So I just started writing my own scripts. And then I asked RJ, would you mind if I asked Renzo to draw my comic? Because Renzo was also drawing Thomas Valiant. He said, yeah, sure. The guy needs work. So that's it. And then as a joke, I made up a character called the Patriarch. I'm like, what would piss off the left? The Patriarch, you know? So I gave him the power of the male gaze, you know, and then I was like, you know what? Characters made out of spite to get somebody to, they don't last. And I started to really love the idea of this guy is everything positive about masculinity. He's a father. He's a beloved father. He's a devoted husband. He's a patriot. He's a superhero. You know what I mean? So he's the patriarch. So in my world, he fills the role of Superman. He's the father figure. You know, when he shows up, the other superheroes stand up. You know what I mean? He's been a superhero. Right? In the first issue, I'm not telling his origin. I'll tell the origin in the third issue. But the first issue, he's been a superhero for 20 years. And I'm hoping to whet your appetite. He's just trying to get home. The name of the story is called Daddy's Home. He's just trying to get home. And he releases his super senses. And there's another crisis. And there's another. So by the time he gets home, he's beat up. And then this is the back cover right here. I want to stop on this image. On the back of the comic, I didn't want it to just be black, and I didn't want it to be an advertisement for the printer, which, you know, the printer's doing a good job. I was like, you only get one chance to make your first comic. So I said, what is my whole, you know, everything about the Patriarch in one image? And I thought of this, and right away, I'm texting Renzo. This is what I want. This is within 2 days, he had this done. And I sent it to Daniel to color. And this is, to me, this is the essence of the Patriarch. He's home. You know, he loves his kids. He's got 7 kids. If you scroll up a little bit, you can see his wife on the bottom right in the hat. That's, you know, they're homesteaders. They homeschool. You know, they're religious. You know, everything, like they're the nuclear family, the traditional nuclear family in America. You know, and the Patriarch. I didn't tell you his story yet, but he was outed when he got his superpowers in public, so he never had a secret identity, and because of that, the family lives kind of far away. Because let's face it, superhero world with crazy villains and stuff. You can see the wife has burns on her. That's a story that I'll be talking about, and I think issue 4. So, you know, there's a reason why they're off the grid kind of thing. You know, so he uses his powers to, like, he could find gold. So they're kind of wealthy, but they live like the Amish, because he doesn't want the kids to be found out where they live. You know what I mean?
He's a good person. He's not a greedy person. He's a family person. He's not a rich himself or
he protects the world because it's the best way to protect his family.
Right.
You know, but he's not and I also, he looks like Superman because I want him to fill that father figure role, but he's nowhere near Superman levels. Like, he would have a rough time fighting Spider-Man because, let's face it, it's more interesting a flawed superhero who struggles. You know, that's a rookie mistake to make a super powerful superhero. So, you know, there you go. I have a whole world. I called it Heroic Tales rather than the Patriarch because every issue is going to have a different superhero, and then they were going to form a team. But people started to get mad at me. Like, I like the Patriarch already. You know what I mean? They didn't even get the comic book, and I started to get fan art. People tell me it's important idea for fatherhood and everything. So I said, I hear you, and this is what I'm going to do. So from now on, issue 1 is a complete comic, and then Ron Mosicki, who also did 913, does a backup unheroic tales. It's the origin of a villain. 2 complete stories, $10. You know, I believe I don't want people to wait 9 months for the cliffhanger. I'm newbie, so I don't know how long. So every one of my comics is going to be self-contained. Every comic is going to be, oh, I didn't get the other issue. Will I know what's going on? Yes, I'm doing the old school Marvel way of every issue.
Time out. No. Brian Michael Bendis taught us that is not how you write comic books.
Oh yeah, I know. If Brian Michael Bendis is doing it, I'm doing the opposite.
Right.
I'm even going to have thought balloons in issue 2. I didn't have them in issue 1.
All right. I interrupted you for laughs.
Fine.
Keep going.
But you're absolutely right. This is the interior artwork by Renzo. This is Boss Moxie. He woke up one day and decided to become a 30s gangster. Why? We all know Gotham City people dress up like penguins and clowns and commit crime, but they don't do it in Miami. They don't do it in Minneapolis. So I always
actually, they're Nicollet Avenue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was thinking, what's wrong with Gotham? So I like the idea of like the city causes these problems. So Science City, where this is set, there's something wrong with Science City, and people are going crazy. That's going to be a subplot. You know, again, in the first issue, I started to do too much, and then I trashed it and I scaled it down. You know, so the world building will build every issue, but again, I didn't want to overwhelm anybody. The original
people with
Yeah, I talked to Brian Bow of Wolf and Batsy. I showed him my script, and he said, "This is world building. There's no and he was absolutely right. That was like 2 years ago, and I redid everything. So now it's character focused, but every issue will build on the next one. So as I was saying, next issue I'm going to introduce another character. So it's going to be Mary Sue. It's going to be her story. But then when you flip the comic over, it's going to have the patriarch. So every issue going forward is going to be a flip book.
Oh, cool.
The patriarch is the flagship character. There will always be a patriarch story, and then when you flip it over, there'll be a rotating other characters that I want to, fill up my world with, and then sooner or later the team will form. Let's face it: if they released Avengers right away without introducing it, I don't have the impact. So it's building up to a big thing. This is the first page that Renzo drew. This is the patriarch showing up. Oh my God! When Renzo sent me this, I got emotional. Like, this is my character. I just love this. My philosophy on superheroes is the name is the focus of the character. When I say the patriarch, you guys could tell me almost 75% of what this character is, because I think, you know what I mean? When I say the Flash, you know what the Flash is, even if you've never heard of him before. So that's one of my pet peeves, is when the name doesn't fit. So the patriarch. And then my other thing is that it has to have a cool symbol. So I said the patriarch, it's a Greek word, it's a Roman word. So I went to the Roman Empire, I got the victory symbol for his chest symbol, and then I'm like, go full on Roman. The purple and gold.
Yes,
and then the white, because I want him to be good, almost angelic. He's not the Homelander, he's not Omni-Man, he's a good guy. First off, Omni-Man, a Homelander, would destroy the patriarch in a fight. Because again, that's just a rookie mistake to make you care. And even in this picture, there's not Easter eggs, but foreshadowing of things to come. If you look at this picture, I was very specific about Renzo what to draw. And you got to have dirigibles. If you're gonna have a comic book, you got to have dirigibles. There's something about Art Deco and superheroes that go together. And I just love this so much. So I can't wait to tell you all the story. And every time I talk about my comic, which I've been going on everybody's show and promoting, I always tell a little bit too much. So I'm trying not to.
Ron actually told me straight out, he was like, dude, you're not telling enough. And I was like, yeah, but the thing is if I start going off on the story, I'm going to end up telling too much. I think my favorite was my appearance on The Common Nerd, though, because I got into stuff that's not in the book. The lore that I wrote that leads up to the book, and that I can talk about all day long.
But you want to, because you're excited about it, and you don't want to put the brakes on your excitement. I understand that. And And Ron, he's doing 8 pages and he knocked it out of the park. Oh my God. He's telling the story of Lucius Kane, who's one of the villains. It's his origin. So the Lucius Kane story is set in 1999. The Patriarch story set in 2024. And then issue number 2, you're going to see Patriarch and Lucius Kane, in 2024 interacting. And, so there you go. I almost gave away too much. This, I was like, okay, Boss Moxie, he's a 30s gangster. He's got the Tommy gun. He's got the scar on his face. He's got the cigar. And then Renzo goes, does he have hot chick sidekicks? And I go, yeah, because he wants to draw hot chicks. And here's the funny thing. You see this redhead over here?
Yeah.
People have been saying, what's her story? What's her story? And I just said hot chicks. Now I have a full background for her. She may or may not become a supervillain in a future issue because I just love that she's flirting. I don't know. I just love this. So I got backstories for the other 2 girls too. One of them's actually pretty sad. I got a couple of pretty sad issues coming up. I don't know why. I'm just trying to pull the heart because I'm not smart enough to write comedy and I'm not smart enough to write detective stories. But I think we could all experience sadness. Yeah.
Jackknife. I just wanted to say, don't let Jason lie to you. Dredgeables are the things next to the potatoes. They're the green things.
Everybody eat your dredgeables, please.
Exactly. Come on, guys.
Call any dredgeable.
The dredgeables are actually a big part of the story too. That I'll probably tell in issue 5.
Thank you to Levi. Thank you to Vulcan Liz for backing. I backed, and we got a few more minutes before Craig's going to refresh. But again, thank you to the chat for hanging out with us on this Friday night. Thank you for backing the book.
I got 5 backers. Just thank you guys. I'm getting the notifications now. Thank you.
We're trying to keep it secret and suspenseful, but
There you go, John.
I got excited. Jeez.
You and Chris come from the same school of foreshadowing, don't you?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear.
This book looks fantastic. I've been too excited to back it.
Yeah. And we're working on issue 2 already. The art is done. The coloring should be done by the end of the week. I just got a message from Bill, the letterer. You going to send me anything yet? And Bill, if you're watching, I can't help it. I'm getting a little nervous because I didn't expect all this attention, and everybody's like, I'm so excited. So I'm going over all the dialogue. Hey, look at that.
Here's a Renzo book. I was just curious, how much work did Renzo do on your book? Because here's Impossible Stars.
20 pages.
20. I love Renzo's work. That's a beautiful book. I don't know if you read that.
Awesome.
It's hard. Me and Renzo, we talk almost every day, and we're like the mutual appreciation. I'm like, you're the best. He's like, oh, I love working with you. I'm like, I love working with you. Yeah, he's so good. He's so excited. So he's done. He's up to page 5 of issue 2, and he's making a promo poster for issue 3. I got this because I have like a Batman character, and I called him the Raven.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to debut in issue 3. And then in issue 4, the Raven and Patriarch were going to meet, the Batman, Superman kind of story. But everybody was like, there's too many superheroes named Raven. I'm like, yeah, but mine's unique. Mine's different. And so I said, you know what? They're right. So I changed his name to the Rook. And then Jeff Johns came out with a comic called The Rook. So I had to reimagine the name. And guys, it's tough to come up with new cool superhero names.
Dude, I would tell you the name of the character I came up with. That's kind of the like dark. I don't want to say Dark Knight, but like that type character. But then and then I wouldn't be able to do it.
Right. So I changed the name of my character, and it caused me to recreate. And I'm so glad now. He's a million times better. I was telling Renzo's like, I can't wait to draw this. So we're making a poster that we're going to tease.
Awesome.
Issue 3, and he promises he'll have that done by the week. So I'm already trying to get people excited about issue 3, and I didn't even deliver issue 1 yet. But
I'm just tripping on your sequential pages. I mean, that's so detailed. The liner is so clean.
And this is something my wife is not into comics, and every time I showed her the unlettered, uncolored comics, and I said, tell me the story, because I'm big on story, and you could follow the story. If you were scrolling by these first 5 pages, you know the story, you know what's going on. I mean, you don't know the dialogue, obviously, but you could tell me what's going on. And then the Patriarch did this, and then that, because
Heck yeah.
storytelling is important in comics, and I think
Mhm.
people either don't understand that or it's just a rookie thing, But I'm a rookie, but I've also a rookie who's been reading comics for 45 years.
Great.
Scroll back up. I wanted to point out something. Just
This one or this one
you
here?
stop right here where it says gas. If you notice,
Okay.
the two kids, they got Wolf and Batsy toys because Brian Blau really helped me out.
Nice.
So I wanted to give Brian Blau a little shout out, and that's not the only nod to people who've been helping me out in future panels. You'll see. But
I love the stick Easter eggs in too. I do a bit of that as well. I totally get it. Like you have the opportunity. I mean, you're creating pieces of art that are immortal. They're going to last forever, right? You want to maximize that real estate to its full potential. So.
As long as it's not in the cold November rain, it will last forever.
Right.
And if you notice, the patriarch is fixing the car. I'm trying to show people that he has vastly different powers than Superman. He's got
the powers of an automotive mechanic.
No, well, he's got telekinesis.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when he throws punches, what he's really doing is hitting you telekinetically. You know what I mean? It's like, so
Cool.
he's not bulletproof. He just, he'll put up telekinetic and, he lifts himself up and flies away. So somebody
Jean Grey.
What's that?
He's Jean Grey.
Yeah, he's more common with Jean Grey than he is with Superman. But
Does he
That's
have
actually really cool. I like
and he has psychic senses, but when he releases his senses, he's vulnerable. So if you notice in the comic, he's always high up in the clouds or something like that, because he literally doesn't know what's going on over here. All 5 of his senses will leave, almost like
that's one thing I always had a problem with Superman is like if he's like focusing in on his super hearing, like he's listening to some chick like 4 blocks away or whatever screaming bloody murder. Like, couldn't you sneak up on him, and get him with a kryptonite shank?
Well, that's just first off, it's strenuous for him to use any of his powers, because I wanted I was just saying this with Yang earlier tonight. When Superman watches TV, he's being selfish because you know what I mean? He could hear everybody around the world. There's nobody suffering in need of a hero, but Patriarch, he his physicality isn't enhanced. He just has this telekinesis.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to lift weights. He has to work out. He has to eat right to keep up his physique, which will be something what we'll address later on in the comic. But for him to use his senses, he literally makes himself vulnerable, and it's strenuous. So that way, for me, he could go home and rest without feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell in this panel there's some sort of a special ability being shown.
Yeah, he could see what's going on. The Peter Parker spider sense.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
When he
So
gets, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was curious. How long does it take Renzo to do a page?
When he was doing this, he was working on 3 different titles. So he would work on one a little bit when he got bored or whatever, and then somebody would be like, dude, we need this done, and he would rush. And I didn't launch it. I didn't even announce it yet. So I said, take as much time as you want. So I can't give it an honest answer because
pages are beautiful.
we weren't on a schedule yet. Now he said he's gonna give me 5 pages in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Wow. So next issue, I'm probably gonna be. It's probably going to be complete by the time I launch the crowdfund, and I'm probably going to have to wait a little bit because I got to fulfill this. I don't want to start doing a crowdfund while people didn't get number 1 yet. I think that'll be just a fatal error,
It's nice though to always be working. Like I'm suffering from that. Like when I finished issue 4, I'm taking a break, and I haven't talked to my artist in like a couple weeks. Like we text every now and then, but not the way we used to. And I'm definitely going through withdrawal. I'm going through creative withdrawal. I miss doing it every day.
Yeah, I tried not to be a pest. I only reach out on Fridays. Fridays I send a text or an email to everybody. But Renzo, he gets excited and he texts me and I text him back. But everybody else on my team. I just every Friday. I don't want to be a pest.
Yep.
Ron's
wife
sends me cookies, and she's sending me a batch for Father's Day. I know John knows about her cookies.
Table baked.
Man, they are fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. He married a good woman.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are 2 cards that got unlocked. The first one obviously is going to be the Patriarch. The second one is Boss Moxie. And then the next three are going to be the three girls, Mal, Dame, and Games. Mal, Dame, and Gams. And then the last card is going to be the main villain that I didn't announce yet. I didn't, I want there to be some surprises. And then I realized Ron's character never got a card. So there's a secret, unannounced stretch goal. If we can make it to 9,000, we'll do the Lucius Kane card. And if we make it to 10,000, not only does Renzo get a bonus, but he flies to New York, and during fulfillment, me and Renzo will autograph comics if people want them, and get him some good Chinese food.
Dope.
There's Renzo. There's Daniel De La Silva, if you recognize, he's the same colorist on Genuine Comics Perfect 10.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I reached out to David Brink, and he was like, "Yeah, the guy wants to work." This is Bill Williams. He's my letterer. He writes Pantheon, Punchline, excuse me. He actually had a comic in the 90s called Heroic Tales. So I reached out to him, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, use the title." Yeah. And then he's like, "You need a letterer?" I was like, "I absolutely need a letterer." He was Bill Williams' letterer. And again, he just emailed me today, how's it going? Because I haven't sent him anything yet, because I'm just torturing myself going over the dialogue.
Right.
I don't need some YouTube channel just ripping me apart,
Dude, it's for real. Like when Ron sent me like the last bit of lettering, and I went through it over and over and over and over and over again. And it's to the point, like, I haven't even read through a physical copy of Nano 13. Like, I've flipped through it, obviously, made sure it's all good and all that, because I'm like, I literally have this memorized at this point. Not only did I write it, but you got to read it so many times. And there was, there's things that you end up moving around, and you realize,
right.
Oh man, like, we need to change this a little bit, or even how things are worded. You realize it looks different on the page.
Right. You got to rewrite the comic when you get the finished art.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had to do that. Like, I've been telling people that it's been fun up until this point. Hey, I'm writing a comic story about a superhero. Renzo's drawing it. Oh, look, he's coloring it. Now I got to make it professional. People are paying money for this. What I mean? I got to give the people what they paid for. I got to respect their cash. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So now I'm nervous, and now I didn't even know flatting was a step. You got to pre-press, mm-hmm. and so I got Nick Axe doing that. He's doing the art for Crom the Destroyer. He does graphic design, so he's designing the cards. I'm like, oh my god, now it's work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You got to do it. So now I'm nervous. Before this was all fun. Yay. $10.
It's always fun. It's always fun.
I wanted to make the comic affordable. I was told not to say cheap, so it's not cheap. It's affordable, $10. I can't do anything about the shipping.
Okay.
So
it is what it is.
I haven't seen the shipping to Canada yet. I'm going to find that out shortly, I imagine. Hopefully it's not too bad.
For $25, you get 3 copies, and then I got a variant cover. So this is a misprint right here. I didn't even realize that. Fund My Comic exclusive Renzo Rodriguez. No, that this is the standard cover. So this is not an exclusive. So this is the standard cover by Renzo. And it was funny because Renzo said, "Can I draw the cover?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he was like, "I never get to draw the covers." But why would you not have Renzo? Renzo to me is John Byrne and George Perez. You know what I mean? He's right now in indies, he's the best superhero comic book artist. Just awesome. So I can't digital. I've dragged kicking and screaming into the modern age. I had a couple of guys from Ireland and England say, like, "John, man, I like your comic, looks great, but I'm not spending $50 shipping." So I had to, I have to do digital.
I have a lot of people angry at me that I wouldn't do digital, and I
didn't do digital, but you can order it on Amazon and Ingram. So
yeah, that's something I didn't know about that when I did this. So maybe I'll course correct. I made a pint glass because what's the most sad thing in the world? Coming home and having a beer. Mm-hmm. So I made a pint glass. You can see it's got the patriarch symbol on the front.
Nice.
you know, the laurel wreath. And I kind of want to make one for every character, like Mary Sue. I'm so proud of her symbol that I designed. I'll give you a sneak peek of Mary Sue if you guys want. This is Pat Broderick, the variant cover. Oh my God, do I love that?
Yeah,
you know, I love everything. Every time I see a picture, it's whatever I'm looking at is my current favorite thing because. You know, it's funny that I was thinking about that originally, and then I'm like, nah, superheroes have to be attractive and fit. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what, John is
supposed to be the best of us. Yeah.
Yes, right, exactly. You know, the exemplary person.
And then I was thinking of that ending every comic in a bad joke, like "Welcome Back, Carter."
You do like Jason pie ads.
He's knowing is half the battle, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
You know about that? I have fake ads in the comic.
Yeah, I do too. About
that. Man, we're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. I have a Hoster's Pie ad in there. And
I got Gregor's make me full screen.
A Fun Factory ad, and Matt Bauer did a Sea Hippies instead of Sea Monkeys.
Okay, here you go.
Sea Hippies, they really smell.
All right, so John, this is Jupiter issue 1. It's got a flip cover, and
me and you got the same idea.
On the inside,
I'm suing you. How's that?
On the inside is a fake pie ad.
Talk to my lawyer.
I don't want to fight. I want to go to court.
Yeah, I got.
Guys, no more getting the law involved over comics.
I'm sorry. I was talking. What were we saying?
I said no more getting the law involved over comics.
Yeah,
please.
Kind of ridiculous. Really.
So, thank you. We've got 59 live viewers. Thank you, everybody who's hanging out and spending time with us and looking at this great book. I strongly recommend you back this book, not only because John's a great guy. It looks like a fantastic book, but it is literally Father's Day weekend.
Yes,
it is a perfect.
If I was a better planner, you see that image of the farm? I was going to turn that into a Father's Day card, but I just didn't have it.
Oh, that would have been tough.
When I had the idea, I just didn't have enough time to do it. So I think
next year,
I'm pulling your campaign down, John, so I can back it. If you want to
oh, thank you.
You got to keep talking.
Next year, Jackknife is
super villain. My comic over here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Craig White, you can see the beads of sweat on his brow right there. He is trying to log into Fund My Comic without anybody seeing his login number, catching his keystrokes, and he's doing it with one eye, one middle-aged eye.
There's no rush. There's no rush. I accidentally did a 4-month campaign instead of a 3-month campaign.
But. Oh well, it's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen,
beautiful with Fund My Comic, you can do anything you want because we know the owner.
Pretty much.
That's true.
And if you do something,
I'm actually going to make a video for Luke. I was going to do it tonight, but I'll probably do it tomorrow night.
You know what's fantastic about Fund My Comic is if you make a mistake, you can just hit up Luke or Pixel Trader or somebody and be like, "Hey, man, I screwed up on this. Can you, on the back end, like fix it?" And boom, done.
If you go on the Friday that we were going to launch, Michael Bancroft graciously said he was going to host my launch party, so I'm checking everything. And I got you see there's a coin. I'm a fanatic about coins. So I got a coin. There's a place called the Norse Foundry in Norway. I sent them my designs. So Nick made a mock-up of what the coin was going to look like. But literally that morning they sent me a real picture of the coin. So I said, Nick, can we put up the real picture? Oh yeah. So it had to get reapproved.
Right.
I didn't know that. So hours before we launch, I go to check out my site and it's not up. Oh my God, did I almost crap my pants? I'm like, oh. So I call Luke and you can hear Luke dishes a clash and he's having lunch with his family and I'm freaking out. And he's like, oh yeah. So how's it going, John? Yeah. And I'm like, why are you small talking me? Fix it. He's like, it's done already. It's fixed.
Yeah.
Did you do that with Indiegogo or Kickstarter?
No, absolutely not. And the thing is like, I understand. And we all hope that Fund My Comic grows into something as large, as Indiegogo or whatever. But we also know, we hope that those of us that were here at the beginning still are able to get that exclusive access.
I just got a notification. Craig White from the People's Republic of Canada.
Do you want me to bring up the refresh?
Be prepared though, John. Just be prepared. When you fulfill Craig is going to be posting photographs of the envelopes that have been cut open by customs, and and the comic will be missing. So be prepared to ship him 2 copies. One will make it.
He did. He with Nano 13 and
no, Nano 13 made it. I'm not going to say.
Oh yeah. It was.
But they did cut it open.
Yeah,
they cut open yours, but they taped it back at least.
Hal Deer, who's one of my moderators, he was the first person to get a pint glass, because I've been selling these before I even went live, and he lives in Winnipeg, so this made it from New York to Winnipeg intact. You know,
nice. Well, Craig is actually close enough. Craig is actually close enough to you that you could just use a catapult.
Oh, there you go.
How about the I-95? You could drive the I-95 almost to my house.
Where in Canada are you?
New Brunswick.
Oh, okay, yeah. Come on down. Yeah. So these are the secret stretch goals. So 10,000. Renzo comes to New York. Renzo gets a bonus. So we really want to get Renzo a bonus, because I don't know what everybody thinks about making comics. 10,000 is not really that much profit. So, you know,
big deal. I haven't hit my 10,000.
So guys, yet. Don't think I'm asking to be greedy. The first thing I'm thinking about is giving Renzo. He's got kids. I got a job. I want him to be happy. But as a joke, I said 50,000. I'll shave my beard, and I'll go right to the barber. The barber will hold up the camera, and I'll shave. But and the joke is 100,000. You guys are coming to New York. I'm flying everybody to New York. We're gonna have a role-playing game. You're gonna make up your characters, and we'll sit around the table. Like Reni's gonna make up her character. Renzo will be the patriarch. I'll run the role-playing game. Brian Bow will be Wolf and Batsy. Fabrizio Ella will be Horace H. Hoover. We'll make up our characters. We'll spend a weekend. So, and I'll, for $100,000, I'll cater it, but, I could dream. If we're dreamers, right? If we're comic book people.
Exactly. The thing is like, you just shoot for the stars, keep rolling, like that's the best thing you can do. Plus you got an awesome looking book. I think it's, this is the kind of book, like I guarantee. So we've Secrets Out. I backed.
Well, I'm trying to jump in there. So we've got 62 people watching. That's like insanity. You must have brought this audience with you, John. Thank you so much. Everyone that's watching.
Credit. I'm taking credit because nobody wanted to watch Chris. Let's be realistic.
And again, thank you so much to everyone who jumped in during this screen and backed. So are we ready for the drum roll?
Let's do it.
What kind of damage was achieved on this show?
Jackknife tells us we started at 157 backers at the start of the show.
And I'll throw
I really want to get all the stretch cards because I made the cards, and in the back of the cards it's going to have their role playing stats because I'm a big into Villains, Vigilantes, superhero role playing game that came out in 1982, probably before everybody was even born. And me and my buddies play. We'll play not this Sunday. We'll play next Sunday. My friends' characters are going to make. It's funny because the first issue I didn't want to include any of my friends' characters because I didn't think I had the right. They're all mad at me that I didn't include their characters. So issue number two. There's a like a roll call of superheroes. I'll leave it at that. And a couple of my friends' characters are in the roll call. But
guys,
the back of the cards have their stats.
We're $1 away from 47.
Saw that.
So one backer gets John to 47.
You guys are great. Oh wow!
Come on.
I saw a comment here that I want to address. It was kind of funny. Oh, Jackknife. Superheroes with the receding hairline.
Oh yeah.
Let's. I'm not sure if it's going to be issue 6 or issue 7, but I'm gonna. You know how I said it's going to be a flip book?
Yeah.
Well, the other side is going to feature Captain Atlas, the most powerful superhero in my world. The original, like he's the Superman, but he's also old with a receding hairline. He got his powers when he was 45, so he's permanently receding hairline. I physically told Renzo to draw him like Robert Duvall.
You can have him trying to get hair implants, but they won't stay in, right? God.
Does he have a get off my lawn force field?
There you go.
No, Captain Atlas. He's I'm giving away too much. I was about to give away too much, but let's just say he's the oldest living superhero.
Guys, that's why we back these books because we it's got to fund the next story. So
yeah.
All right.
All kidding aside, I paid for the first issue out of pocket. What you're really doing is funding issue 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to make $5,000 to do issue number 2, so. But
I'm terrified to do issue 5. Like, I don't want to get into dollar figures, but here I'll show you again. I'm not plugging myself or anything.
Plug yourself, man.
But yeah, here's the first book. Almost $20,000 to make that thing. It's about $6,000 an issue, right? I paid that completely out of pocket, and then what everybody did. Thanks for backing. Everyone who backed, like I said, really your support is what made this. Everyone who backed, I was able to make issue 4. So now I'm kind of at all the funds are used. So I'm kind of like the bank account is dry, but I've got a good overprint of these. I've got like 170 of these, and I got about 100 of these. So I'm spending this summer. I got to redo my Fund My Comic, and I'm going to try to sell the 2 of these books side by side to get enough money to make issue 5. But yeah, it's terrifying, like to think about running a issue 5 campaign.
Yeah, guys. Whenever I launch issue 2, I just want to let you know that my art costs did go up.
Everybody, thank you for hanging out tonight. There's currently 60 people watching live. Thank you for backing John's book. Thank you for hanging out with us. Please, at the end of the show, let's raid Nick's stream. He's streaming right now in honor of our dear friend Klobby. I put the link in the chat. Go drop in there and say the Friday night sent us. Rest in peace, Klobby. Check out that stream if you are a fan or not a fan. Let's go reminisce and celebrate that great man who was a comic book retailer and a friend to us all.
All right. Thanks again for joining us, John. Thank you for joining us, the 60. If you can also too, head over to my channel, Mad Ruth. Consider subscribing. I lost about 4 subscribers. I'm really down. If I can get some more back,
you lost the right people. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
I was just sharing this. If you got a second, this is a sneak peek for issue number 2. This is the featured character.
Is it a shared screen? Yeah, okay, I'll add it.
This is Mary Sue. I'm goofing on the concept of a Mary Sue. Her name is Sue S.U. She's Chinese American.
Oh, good one.
Yes.
And the problems are perfect. When you're perfect, you have perfect problems. So I fell in love with this character. Renzo wanted to draw a sexy girl, so I was like, let's do Mary Sue. And Renzo's like, I freaking love this character.
All right, Craig notoriously has yellow fever, so this is he's going to be looking forward to this issue.
Yeah, so I she's perfect, but perfect is subjective. She's perfect in her grandmother's eyes, so so which is not so perfect in college when your grandmother thinks you're perfect.
Once she leaves the front door and goes walk down the street.
So I'm being vague on purpose, but yeah. And I was told by people, "Oh man, don't name your character Mary Sue." I'm like,
too late.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And I especially can't wait for you guys to see issue 3. It's one of those examples of art through adversary. I had problems. People telling me don't use this name. Jeff Jones made a character with the same name. So I'm not telling you the name until Renzo has the poster. Boom. And I guarantee you guys, I don't care much, but you're going to shit your pants when you see this. So
actually, if anybody saw my poop post today.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Jackknife, please. Jackknife, tell these guys what to do. Let's wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. We had a great night, a great time tonight.
John, thank you guys for backing.
All right. Have a great weekend, everyone.
The sign on the door says it all. No trespassing. If you try and enter, we will press charges for violation of expectation of privacy. This sign is on the front door of Fazana Rahman's Airbnb dorm rental. She owns it, but says she can't get access to it.
Now they're refusing to leave until there's an eviction order. I think they're just trying to gain time to stay there for free.
Because they haven't paid?
No.
This all started when her most recent guest did make a long-term rental reservation through Airbnb and checked in on October 25th. The guest did pay through Airbnb monthly, and you can see on the reservation details the checkout date was May 24th. When her cleaning lady went to clean the rental,
they answered the door and they said, no, we haven't moved out. He said, should I come tomorrow? And they said, no, don't come back.
Farzana went to the rental, this time she says with police. The next morning, still not gone, and this handwritten no trespassing sign on the front door that states, we will vacate the property when you've filed the proper paperwork with the civil magistrate for an eviction, for we are legal residents of this home.
This is my place and I mean, I'm counting on this income. My son is in college. I'm a single parent.
Farzana contacted Airbnb for help as she already had another long-term renter booked through Airbnb ready to move in. She says Airbnb has not been helpful.
They're sending me messages as, please get help for your safety and get whatever legal help you have to get them out.
Batman is starting to circle the streets of Waco, all in the name of a good cause. News 10's Alex Fulton is in Waco after talking with the Caped Crusader about how he's giving back to others. Alex?
If you're driving around Waco, you might just run into Batman.
We can see here people every day that have carts, that have all their entire lives in that cart.
Batman is bringing some good to the Waco area.
They're seemingly invisible to the entire world.
You'll find him riding his motorcycle, not looking for evil, instead looking for homeless people to give care packages to.
I think if we could just reach out and make a difference in one person's life, I think that would make all the difference in this community.
These backpacks are stuffed with snacks, hygiene items, and warm winter clothes, all donated by Good Samaritans in the community.
The plan is to drive around the community and locate those that are in need, maybe those that are less fortunate, and with permission ask if we could do things like pray for them, give them a care package.
You can call this Caped Crusader Bruce Grom, but that's not his real name. There's a hidden meaning behind his hidden identity.
I want people to understand it's not about me, it's not about a person, it's about an idea.
Believe it or not, this hero used to be homeless. He spent nights sleeping on the steps of this police station and this park bench.
I've gone days without eating. I've had to jump in the dumpster for food. And all the while, people pass me by like I never existed.
For now, Bruce is riding solo, but one day he wants to assemble a whole Justice League to do some good.
No matter how big, no matter how small, you can help out in your way.